Reading with your kids.
Hola, niho, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, monamili wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you'll join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Good Pods, wherever you find your podcasts. Our guest today is MJ Palma. She is here to celebrate Day Switch. Before we invite MJ into the studio, we want to invite you to connect with us on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and TikTok, and at Jedley Magic on Twitter. And of course, we'd love for you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Check out our blog and our latest Reading With Your Kids Certified Great Read. Also, download our free Reading With Your Kids magazine. And we would love for all the authors listening to the show to click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest here on the podcast, to find out how you can submit your book to our Certified Great Read panel, and also find out how you can take part in our monthly promotion programs. You can find all that and more at readingwithyourkids.com. Join us right now from the great state of Ohio. I love going to Ohio. It's so flat. It's really cool. Our guest is here today to celebrate her debut children's picture book. It's called Day Switch. Please welcome to the show, MJ Palma. Hey, MJ, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm delighted to have you. I was sharing with MJ that her book, Day Switch, literally arrived here at the Reedville studios 20 minutes ago. And I had the chance to open it. I haven't had the chance to read through it all, but it's a really cool book. There's lots of nice, bright colors, some great characters, and a lot of stuff about planners. And I'm guessing that this is going to help me and my kids get organized or something.
I mean, it definitely could. There's definitely an aspect of that. Totally.
So tell us all about Day Switch, please.
Yeah. So Day Switch is a children's book. It's about, obviously, the days of the week. It kind of starts off with Monday, and Monday is just kind of overwhelmed. Monday is tired, exhausted, does not want to be Monday anymore. And so they convene as the days of the week, and Monday kind of is like, hey, I've had it. I'm kind of over this, and the other days of the week also feel similar, feel the same. Mm-hmm. And so they all kind of concoct this plan of what if we all switch places. You have Wednesday. Wednesday is hump day, so Wednesday has a hump on his side. And so they all have different things that they feel about themselves. Tuesday keeps missing the bus and is always late, and Thursday doesn't feel like his day is special because he's not Friday. Friday is exhausted because he always has plans. And so each day of the week has kind of a gripe and a concern about their day. And so they all decide, let's switch places. Let's see what it's like to be a different day. And so when they switch places, they have a ball. They have so much fun. But then it gets to the point where you can kind of see there's a picture in the book where it is a month long and their emotions just start to fade away and they realize the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So it's a lot about identity and self-worth, and that comparison is a real thing. And when you look to someone else and think like they've got it all, they've got the best life, and then you kind of discover where I'm at and who I am and my personality, like I am great too. So they all kind of have a reflective moment and they decide to switch back to themselves.
What a clever idea. Where in the world did this inspiration come from?
So it's kind of funny. I work at a high school and I was sitting and I was kind of planning my week and I was just thinking about how was Sunday and I was thinking I dread Monday. Like I don't love Mondays and a lot of people feel the same about Mondays. And I started just to think as I was planning out my week, I was like, what would Monday look like? Like what would that character look like? What would Tuesday look like? And just kind of the attributes to each day. And Sunday is super sweet. Sunday's a super sweet character and it's very calm and gentle. Wednesday is very insecure because he has that hump on his side. So I kind of just literally sketched it on a planner and was like, this is kind of an idea and I'm going to run with it.
Wow. You know, I had a feeling you might be a teacher, but I didn't expect high school teacher. This is my wife taught elementary school for 34 years, and teaching the kids the days of the week was something that, you know, she had to deal with at the beginning of every school year, and usually would take her to like January. She was a special ed teacher.
Okay.
You know, so I you know, kind of got that, but high school, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, so an even more fun fact is that I'm a study hall monitor, and so my job is to monitor students, but it was kind of fun because it allotted a lot of time to work on my book. And I had a lot of high schoolers who like watched the progression of very basic drawings of these characters, very basic ideas. And so my biggest supporters and champions are for sure high school students, which is great.
That is so cool. I've never met. That's your full-time job. You're monitoring kids in study hall all day.
Yeah, so I do that, and I also am a varsity field hockey coach.
Okay.
So
So what's that like? Do you have to take a tennis racket into your study hall to bat away all the paper, the paper balls that are coming your way and all that?
Oh, for sure, I could write a book about study hall. Like it is a new adventure every day.
I didn't realize that they still had study halls, and that's so neat.
Yeah.
How does one become a study hall monitor? I'm just,
Great
we're
question.
gonna get back to Day Switch, but I'm just really fascinated by your career.
Yeah. So I'm interested in going into education. I was an English major in college, and so I don't have any teaching certifications. So one way to get in is to get into a public school in any capacity. And once you're in, you can kind of get an license in like a way where you don't have to go back to school. So it's kind of just being around education, see if I'm interested, just kind of dipping my toe before you make the big jump. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that your students were your biggest supporters. What was your reaction at first when you first started? And how did that happen? Did you say, okay, guys, if you don't burn the room down, I'm going to tell you about this kids' books that I'm writing?
That's funny. A lot of them, so there was a fair amount of students that would come sit with me and talk with me for an entire period. But they started to notice that I was on my iPad. I illustrated it all with Procreate, the app. And so they would notice that I was illustrating. So they would ask if I was an artist, and I was like, far from it. I'm just kind of trying out, kind of practicing, seeing what I like. And then, they started to see, okay, you're not just drawing pictures, you're writing a book. And so they started to piece it together. And then, of course, their biggest question was, can you dedicate the book to us? Which I did not dedicate. They wanted their names individually in the dedication, which is great. So shout out to fourth period study hall.
All right, fourth period study hall.
Yeah.
You were great. Not great enough to get in the book, but maybe for the sequel.
Maybe.
Did you always see, you mentioned that you're an English major. Did you always imagine that you were going to be writing children's books in your life?
I don't think there was a moment where I was like, this is what I'm going to do, but I think it almost was like written in the existence because I was born on March 2nd, which is the late and great Dr. Seuss's birthday. So we share that birthday, and So a lot of like in elementary school, especially on March 2nd, we would have a birthday party for Dr. Seuss, and it was be a huge assembly. So I felt special because it was my birthday, but I think that a lot of it had to do with my parents and how they raised me. It was just a lot of it was they would always read before bedtime. First and last day of school, we would race to the car because there would be a new children's book like sitting in our car seat or sitting on our seat. And so there was a lot of influence from them of just always making sure we had a book in our hand, always making sure we were reading. And so I think it really kind of was ingrained that this is something that I want to at least try and to see where this goes. Was in college as an English major, I took a children's lit class. Mm-hmm. And it was a great class. We read a lot of great children's books. We talked about manuscripts and sending in manuscripts and talking about just like what it's like to market for a certain age range and different things. So after I took that class, I definitely started writing a lot more, especially targeted for children. But my favorite thing is to go to a bookstore, pick a random one off, and 9 times out of 10, there's a simple theme that like will still hit me as an adult. And it's just, I love the simplicity and like the sweetness of a children's book.
Yeah, there's so many kids' books out there that we talk about perspective. And of course, when we reread our books, whether they're Dr. Seuss or Maurice Sendak or whoever it is, when we reread those books that we loved as kids, once we're adults, we have a whole new perspective. Life is, we're looking at these stories, this message through a different set of eyes. And I really encourage all the parents out there to take the time to don't just read with your kids, read it for yourself too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You, as a study hall monitor, I'm imagining you have a different relationship with those high school kids. What's going on with kids these days? I mean, like, what is it that they're really concerned about? What's keeping them up at night? What's exciting them? What are they excited for? What are they looking to do in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say a lot of the students that I encountered, there's kind of like a split of like some are for sure pursuing college and have that aspiration. Some are more, I think that like our society and our world is more so like, you don't need to have a career and a job that you are in for 22 years. Maybe more so you are going to pursue something like a business venture that you do for yourself and that works for 3 years and then you go to something else. So I think a lot of the kids, I know that there's a couple students that are interested in cosmetology and interested in service jobs of, like even just the kind of trade jobs. Mm-hmm. So I think what keeps kids up at night, I don't know. I think that like I see a lot of athletics and that like they're kind of grind and their aspiration for athletics, but I think that they're also just very much consumed by social media, and I do think there's perks, and I think that there's also some big parts of that can just be not great, just because they're exposed to way more than like I was exposed to and other people of different generations were exposed to. So I think that maybe their innocence is kind of lost at a younger age, and I think that that's something I've noticed a lot. But I do think their maturity, and like just they know so much. Mm-hmm. Like they'll talk about taxes or different things because they saw a video on TikTok, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever thought about taxes until I had to file taxes. So they do. It's just like kind of an interesting thing.
That is interesting, and you know we have a lot of parents, mostly the folks who listen to the podcast. And when we hear the term reading with your kids, I think most people think, oh, yeah, you're reading with your little kids and they're just learning how to read. We encourage families to read with their kids throughout their lives. And certainly, if you're not reading, sitting down, curled up on the couch together, reading a book aloud with your high school kids, certainly you can co-read with those kids. But I think there are a lot of parents out there that are looking for ways to connect with kids and connect with their high school kids better. Do you think maybe kind of bringing up, asking kids, so what are you looking at on social media? What's the algorithm throwing your way these days? Do you think that would be a way for parents to better connect with their kids?
Possibly, for sure. I think that something that I do often, especially in a social setting like study hall where I'm talking to a lot of students, is a lot of times like kids will not be asked like not necessarily hard questions, but just like very like creative questions. So my favorite question to ask students is, what are you going to be when you grow up? Which I think that after the ages of like when you're a little kid, like no one really asks that. 'Cause you think, oh, like they're going to say astronaut or something. But I think that there is an element of like even parents just kind of always having that. We can always change what we want to be and what we like or what we're doing. So I think just like, yeah, I think what they're looking at on social media and what they're interested, like there's so much creativeness on social media right now, whether that's like authors like me trying to promote myself or, that's someone that's really interested in knitting or something. So I think a lot of what they are consuming, like, is probably what they're interested in. Mm-hmm. And so whether that's like even comedy of like, oh, that like will tell you their sense of humor or stuff. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing, I think that could be a great question just to kind of connect with a child or a student for sure.
Yeah. You know, we've talked here on the podcast, certainly in city schools and suburban schools outside of cities, kids are being pressured to go to college, got to go to college. And we've talked here in the podcast that how unfair it is to, say to an 18-year-old, okay, you don't know what you want to do. You got to go to college. And by the way, it's going to cost you $200,000-$300,000, and I know you don't have it, so sign here, get this loan. I think having those conversations about what do you want to do when you grow up. I mean, we think that that's an immature question to talk to to ask our high school kids, but I think that's essential because I think our kids are going to be making this investment in theoretically training to do something. And, and so they need to be aware of what do I want to do? What do I want to spend $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 getting ready to do for the rest of my life?
Yeah, that's totally hard because I think even sometimes you filter of like, okay, this is what I want to do, but like that's not going to pay. Like you make so many decisions at 18 and I didn't start off as an English major because there was so much kind of narrative and dialogue about like, what are you going to do with an English degree? Like, who are you going to be? Or like, you can't just make it off being a writer. So I think that there's a lot of pressure for sure of trying to find not only a career, but a lucrative career, something that you can support yourself. When in reality, like you just finished high school, like it's hard to make that decision. For sure. It
really is. And I think, I'm hoping the people who are listening to this start having conversations with kids, as opposed to, I mean, even I know with my son, it was all like, are you going to open up any of these college things that are coming in that have been sitting on your desk for the last year?
Yeah.
Just have some conversations about, so what do you want to do? What kind of career do you want to build for yourself? Yeah, you can change. You don't have to do the same thing for the next 40 years, but if you're going to make that investment, it should be an investment in something that, as they say, has a good ROI, you're going to get something out of it.
Right. No, for sure.
Yeah. So Day Switch is out. And it's here in my house. It's available on Amazon. It's going into other people's homes. Have you caught the children's writing bug?
Oh, for sure. There's a character in Day Switch, and he's one of my favorite characters. and his name is Lemon, and he is a lemon. But he's one of those characters that on a 2-page spread, like, he will always be hidden and super small, but you can find him, and he always has something to say, and it's a 1-word statement. And I created Lemon just because a lot of the things with days of the week, usually curriculum in elementary schools, a child usually learns in a public school the days of the week around 1st grade. Mm-hmm. And so littler kids might like the pictures and the colors of Day Switch, but I really drew Lemon and created Lemon so that kids could engage. And if they can't really read, if they can't really understand either the message about self-worth and self-love, that they can at least look for Lemon and kind of pick Lemon out and find him. And he always says like 1 word, but I think that my next book for sure will be a book about Lemon. And it would be for younger students and younger kids, that a lot of sight words, a lot of simple language, more simple illustrations, but just, Lemon was really fun. And a lot of the feedback I've been getting is that people really love Lemon.
Awesome. Hey, if you were a day of the week, what day would it be?
Great question. I think I would probably be Sunday. I think Sunday is the day that I would be. Sunday really wants to be Friday, and in one of the pictures, Sunday's wearing hot pink cowboy boots. And I think that I need some hot pink cowboy boots.
Hey, one of the things I noticed too before we go, in addition to Day Switch, there's also a Day Switch planner for kids. Yes.
So that's something that I think would be super great, either parents or teachers, to implement. Of a lot of kids memorize the days of the week of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but really you start to notice a kid is learning when they notice soccer practices on Wednesday. And so a great practice would be sitting down with your kids, or even at class at school, and just kind of starting slowly but surely organizing and having them have ownership of their life and what's going on. So they're like, okay, this is kind of what I'm doing and when I'm doing it. And there's also writing prompts that are in the planner. So that's also available on Amazon.
Awesome. We've had a great, before we go, we should ask, I found out about your planner because I went on your website. We should tell everybody where they can go to get on your website.
Yes. So it's mjpalmawriter.org.
Awesome.
That they can find it. Yeah.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Day Switch, the debut children's picture book from our guest, MJ Palma. Hey, MJ, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. I've had so much fun.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Lauren Leary. She'll be here to celebrate Harper, who's going on vacation. That's the next episode of the podcast. Hey, please do be sure to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. If you are a parent, you want to click on the Parents Click Here button at the top of the page to discover our blog. If you are an author, you want to click the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to find out how we can help celebrate your book to the world. And if you are just a parent looking for something fun to do with your kids, you absolutely want to click on the Drawing with Your Kids button at the top of the page, and you and your kids can discover how to draw some really beloved characters, and the lessons are being taught by some of the best illustrators in all of children's literature. Check it out today, readingwithyourkids.com. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, MJ Palmer. Please be sure to check out Day Switch. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Soji Franklin, Madison Dieris, Monica Rivera Sosa, and O'Leary. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all of her support, and of course, we all want to join together to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.